Hey Internet, Eric here again. Back with a movie review, and this one is actually per request of my friend Christina. So Christina, this is for you. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for making a request because I love any interaction I have with people that actually watch this. Um, I told her that I'd recently done a review of Gremlins, my favorite Christmas movie, and I also told her that I was doing Goonies. And she suggested that this being Christmas season, she asked me to review, this is a shitty picture because of the light, but it'll dim, the Bill Murray movie, Scrooged. Now, Scrooge, if you've never seen it before, is basically, there's a better picture. Alright. Scrooged is a retelling of the story A Christmas Carol. The Charles Dickens classic. It really is a classic. So I've said before, my reviews usually have spoilers in them, but then again, it's a fucking Christmas Carol. So if you haven't read or seen any type of adaptation, I don't know what your problem is, and I want to know where the hell you've been. Where the hell you've been, basically. Um, Came out in 1988, directed by Richard Donner. Now, in my Goonies review, I remember that I said Richard Donner is known for directing all four Lethal Weapons movies, but I couldn't think of what else he directed. So let me correct this right now by saying the man has directed Superman, he directed the original The Omen, he directed Assassins, a really good Sylvester Stallone movie, 16 Blocks, and so on. So yeah, Richard Donner, a very, very well talented film director and writer. Now, that out of the way. Scrooged. Like I said, it's a Christmas Carol starring Bill Murray and Karen Allen and Bobcat Goldthwait and David Johansen, of all people, Carol Kane, and so many others. Some good cameos. Now, Bill Murray plays Frank Cross. And Frank Cross is the Ebenezer Scrooge character, and he is he is the president of a well-respected television channel. And what it is basically he's the asshole of the movie and meets up with the ghost of his boss, his former boss, the Jacob Marley character. And Jacob, or his boss, I can't think of his boss's name, it's not important, says you'll be visited by three ghosts, blah, 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 blah. The end. Alright, there's the plot. Now, what makes this movie really, really good and stand apart from just being a retelling of a Christmas Carol is the acting and the visuals. Because first off, we're introduced, like I said, to Bill Murray's character Frank, and right away we see what an asshole he is. Well, you know what? First, let me correct that. First off, the way the movie opens, and I haven't seen this movie since last year, and I just now rewatched it for this review. And I totally forgot about the opening sequence. The opening sequence is a promotional commercial for one of the movies of the week, for the channel that Frank is the president of. And it starts off, we're at Santa's workshop, and Santa and Mrs. Claus and all the elves are there, and suddenly the workshop is taken over by a bunch of terrorists. And Santa Claus gets all these AK-47s and what have you to fight the terrorists, and then is also helped by Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man. And then followed by that is a commercial for Robert Goulet's Cajun Christmas. And it's literally Robert Goulet in like a rowboat paddling down, the bayou. So that right there shows that this movie is going to be very, very tongue-in-cheek. Okay, and not to be taken 100% seriously. Alright, back to Frank, played by Bill Murray. We're first introduced to him, and we see right away how much of an asshole he is, because the first thing I remember, for this review, to show how much of an asshole he is the way he treats his assistant. And like the nail on the head of the way he treats his assistant is she has a picture drawn by her son on the wall. And he walks by and he basically says, "What the hell is this crap?" And she says, "Oh, it's a picture my son drew for me." And he says, "Well, how many fingers are does a person have total?" 10. "How many fingers does this person have?" 11. "That's right, it's crap." He literally rips it off the wall, crumples it up, and throws it in the garbage. Total asshole. Another scene is we see the executives that work for him, their idea of the promo for the live presentation of A Christmas Carol that the channel is producing. And it's really, really nice. And then, of course, Frank thinks it's total shit, total crap. He plays his version of a commercial, and it's this twisted, sick, depraved downer of a promo. And basically, he asks one of these executives their opinion, and he ends up asking Bobcat Goldthwait. And this is normal Bobcat Goldthwait. This isn't the usual weird talking Bobcat Goldthwait. Basically, Bob's saying, "Sir, this is not a good promo. It's not going to work." So, Frank's like, "Oh yeah, sure, blah blah blah. Okay, thanks for your opinion." And as he walks away, he looks at his assistant and he says, "Fire that man right now." And then she's like, "Oh, it's Christmas. Yeah, you're right. Cancel his Christmas bonus." Right there. So we have a side story of we're following Bobcat from him being fired and being normal to normal as in not the goofy voice he's known for, to totally psychotic by the end of the film, totally talking like that, getting revenge after Frank Cross, against Frank Cross by basically chasing him around with a fucking loaded shotgun, piss ass drunk. Spoilers, one of the best scenes of the movie. Now, another thing that sets us apart is if you've read the story of A Christmas Carol, when Ebenezer is met up by Jacob Marley, his old partner, Jacob Marley is basically just his specter, or in any adaptations you've seen, and he's covered in chains and he's carrying them around for all eternity. Now, Richard Donner's take is a little different. When Frank meets up with the Jacob Marley character, who is actually his old boss, he's basically a corpse. He's a walking zombie. I mean, Frank is so spooked out by him, and it's done in a comedic fashion for some of the parts. Tries shooting him, or he doesn't try. He actually shoots him several times with a gun, and they do the whole old shtick where someone drinks the water. So the Jacob Marley character drinks some booze, and you have little the squirts of the alcohol coming out of the bullet holes in his body. And you see like rats coming out of the back of his skull, and his body's just decomposing. He's basically like a mummy without the wrapping. And he tells Frank, "Okay, you guys know the story. You're going to be visited by 3 ghosts, And the first ghost he sees, of course, is the ghost of Christmas Past, played fantastically by David Johansen, the musician. He's had albums as David Johansen, but he's also known as Buster Poindexter with the hit single Hot, Hot, Hot. Now, David Johansen is the ghost of Christmas Past, and he is this sadistic, evil cab driver with pointed ears, smoking a cigar, disgusting teeth, and, and he is probably the highlight of this entire movie. Now, I guess he got this role because he was good friends with Bill Murray, and it shows because they have a very, very good chemistry with each other. When, the Ghost of Christmas Past is giving Frank shit, they play off each other so well. It's like what you would say to one of your buddies. And then eventually, he's done. We go to Bill Murray meeting the Ghost of Christmas Present, which is played by Carol Kane. Goofy ass Carol Kane. And then eventually we see the... I'll get to Carol Kane later because she's part of the negative aspect of this movie, in my opinion, which is surprising because I'm a huge, huge fan of Carol Kane. We get to the Ghost of Christmas Future. And the design on him is just basically the same design you see, the hooded specter. You do see in his first reveal, you do see his skull face, but after that you don't really. His face is more like a TV screen. What's really cool is Bill Murray, or Frank, just get used to me calling characters by their names, lifts up the Ghost of Christmas Past Future's robe, and you see these little demons or these little souls inside his rib cage in a horrifying effect. I mean, I don't know if it came up before or after Nightmare on Elm Street 4, the Dream Master, or well, you first see it in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, where Freddy actually has all of his souls of the children and the teenagers he's killed in his stomach. So I don't know if maybe Richard Donner or the writer was inspired by that, but that was a definite reminder of me of from that movie. And then yeah, we meet and the movie ends. Like I said, spoilers, read the fucking story. Frank Cross realizes the errors of his ways, and we end with a musical number, everybody singing Put a Little Love in Your Heart. So those are the own little twists to make it different. Now I just praised David Johansen's performance with Bill Murray. Another performance, well, Bill Murray's Bill Murray, he's fantastic, this is his heyday. Another performance I want to praise is Karen Allen, who plays Bill Murray's old girlfriend. And you say when we first meet her, they've already been broken up, and they have a cute little rapport with each other, and you can tell right away the tension's there. And then, Karen Allen's I've always been a fan of hers, from Animal House to Raiders of the Lost Ark and so on. But Bill Murray and her have a very, very good chemistry. Excuse me. And then what we have those are the two main actors, other than Bobcat Goldthwait, going from normal human to Bobcat. And it's pretty much a seamless, change. And one thing I like to praise is, as goofy as this movie can be, it's really got some heartbreaking scenes. And one of the scenes is obviously in Frank's past. And the Ghost of Christmas Past takes Frank to his childhood home. And we see, how shitty Frank had it as a kid. Which is basically like, A Christmas Carol. We see Ebenezer Scrooge grew to hate Christmas because of past experiences. And that scene is very heartbreaking. Not because you see how his father treated him like a piece of shit. What's very heartbreaking is you see Frank's mom leaving to go to work, and they look at each other, and she says, "Frank, baby, I love you. I love you too, Mom." And then in the side, you see Bill Murray break down in tears and start crying about, the love he had for his mom. And you do see David Johansen as the Ghost of Christmas Past feel sympathy for him. And it's a very, very sweet, sad scene. And then, of course, David Johansen goes back to giving him shit. But it's a really, really sweet scene to show that as much of a hard ass as Frank is, he still is human. There's that little bit of him that is human. And who the fuck knew that David Johansen could be an entertaining actor? I mean, I've seen him in a couple other films. Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Decent. Mr. Nanny. But in this movie, top notch. Fantastic. And let's talk about Carol Kane. I'm a huge, huge Carol Kane fan. And she is the Ghost of Christmas Present here. I mean, I've loved Carol Kane in The Princess Bride. She's fun in her little brief role in Jumpin' Jack Flash. Love her as Grandmama in Addams Family Values. License to Drive, fantastic. Scrooged, not so much. Her shtick basically is to beat the shit out of Bill Murray for 10 minutes. Like, literally beat the shit out of him by, hitting him over the head with a toaster and kicking him in the balls and stuff like that, while she's showing him the present day of, his brother, having his Christmas party, and of course, Frank's not there, and he's trying to defend Frank's actions, and blah, 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 while no one else wants to hear it. And it's a sweet scene, but again, Carol Kane's goofiness and just what her character does just takes me out of the scene, and it's probably the worst part of the entire movie. I really cannot stand Carol Kane in this movie, or the entire Ghost of Christmas Present scene. I check out. But then when the Ghost of Christmas Future shows up, I'm right back in the fucking movie. So that's like one of my main complaints is I love you to death, Carol Kane. I mean, I loved you in Gotham season 2, but here you're just so annoying, and I don't know if it's the writing or whatever, but you're kind of wasted in this role. And that's very, very disappointing. Anything else that I could say about this movie? And again, we go back to the best scenes of this movie is when we're with the Ghost of Christmas Past, because we get to see that Frank wasn't always this asshole. When he meets up with Karen Allen, he's a sweet, charming man. They have a lovely relationship, a wonderful relationship. They're flirty, they're lovey, they care about each other. You believe it. And then it shows again. He had humanity until he got this role as this, executive president or what have you for this TV channel. And it's like I said, the best parts of this movie is definitely the Ghost of Christmas Past part. What else is there? Another good scene I love is when we're in present day and we find out that Karen Allen is working at like a homeless shelter, which is very sweet because it shows that she's always trying to change the world. She is the positive part in Frank's life, and he shows up there and he's babbling. He just got done with one of the ghosts and they think he's a homeless person. So they cover him with blankets and they put him on a bench. And he's met up with these 3 homeless people. One of them played by Anne Ramsey, from the Goonies, and Throw Mama from the Train. And they think he's this actor who's known for, I can't think of his name right now, who used to be married to Elizabeth Taylor, and he's known for, all these stage roles. And they keep asking him to do is quote Shakespeare. So he finally does, and then he just basically says, "Get the fuck away from me." And what is great is just, even dirty old spooky gross Anne Ramsey is so sweet in this scene. She's asking him, please recite this play, blah, blah, blah. And it's a fun scene, and it's very sweet. So the movie does have its tender moments. It has its comedic moments. It has its bad moments with Carol Kane. And that just really disappoints me. So like I said, I never thought I would say that Carol Kane is like the worst part of a movie. But, that's it. In a nutshell, there's not really much else I can say because it's fucking Christmas Carol with Bill Murray. So you have classic Bill Murray comedy, you have sweet, heartwarming parts to the movie, you have gut-wrenching scenes, that could bring a tear to some people's eyes. Because like I said, that scene with Frank, watching young Frank and his mother, and then he busts out bawling, very, very sad. Such a sad scene. And then, like I said, where else will you end a Christmas movie with everything being okay, and then everyone is singing "Put a Little Love in Your Heart"? And in that scene, what is great is while everyone's singing "Put a Little Love in Your Heart," you also see past characters. Like you see all the ghosts singing, stuff like that, including the Ghost of Christmas Future. All the demons in his chest are singing "Put a Little Love in Your Heart," and it's sweet. So, like I said, kind of a short review. Like I said, there's not a lot to say if it's an adapted work like A Christmas Carol. But I did my best, Christina. I think you really enjoy this movie, and in the end, I really do enjoy it too. It is a good movie to watch around Christmas. If you don't want to watch an original Christmas Carol, watch Scrooged. Like I said, David Johansen, I cheer and laugh my ass off every time this man was on screen. And even Bobcat Goldthwait. I mean, my wife is really, really annoyed by Bobcat Goldthwait. And rightfully so. But here, he's got that balance going of regular and then crazy Bobcat. So, in the end, definitely check out Scrooge. Watch it at least once a year around Christmas time. What is good is even though this is a Christmas movie, this is something I believe you can watch away from the Christmas season and it doesn't lose its impact. But in the end, check out Scrooged. I don't think you'll be disappointed, except for Carol Kane. So, yeah. Cheers, and I don't know how to end this video. So, cheers, and check out Bobcat Goldthwait and something else. Police Academy 2.